I don't know anyone who hasn't used a portable toilet at least once in your life. I mean, think back to a sporting event, a concert, or a festival you attended. Now close your eyes. Now I want you to think back to the worst experience you had. Was it smelly? Was the seat wet? Was it out of paper? Was the tank full of beer cans? All right, open your eyes. Take a moment, turn to the person next to you, or jot down, take a minute to share a memory that you had. And maybe you've been lucky enough to have always used one that was freshly cleaned and stocked with hand sanitizer. You can go ahead and share that too. This talk can also be called taking care of business. Now, many of you know me through the context of professional education, mostly through my current projects doing QuickBooks training. But in my personal life, I love going to live music festivals, and I usually find myself on the production team. They hand me a walkie-talkie radio, and I help orchestrate camping or traffic or ambiance. Now, this is a picture of me in July 2024 volunteering at Oregon Country Fair on the camping crew. You see the dragon head in the back? That's my desk. Now, after 20 years of doing festival production, I have learned how to find the magic porta potty, the clean one. And after 35 years of being a self-employed business consultant, I have also realized that my same porta potty secrets are equally as applicable to the businesses I've run. Now, some of it's as simple as when you go into a bank, veer to the units in the back left corner, since most people are right-handed and they're in a rush. But there is more to it than that. Here are my secrets to business that I learned from my magic porta potty. Imagine yourself at a concert, waiting impatiently in line. You finally get in and that smell hits you. But sometimes you're lucky enough to get one where someone had the courtesy to put the lid down when they were done. The difference is night and day. Porta potties are designed when the tank's airflow rises through the largest opening. If the seat is down, that opening is the chimney pole up and out through the roof. But if the seat is up, that opening is the box itself. This factoid taught me a vital lesson. In business, leveraging your resources correctly can prevent problems. Just as keeping the seat down reduces unpleasant smells, efficiently using what you already have can keep your operations smooth and manageable. I once consulted for a startup that was struggling with high operational costs. They were continuously buying new software tools without fully implementing the features in the ones they already had. By simply streamlining and maximizing the use of their existing programs, we managed to cut their resource costs by 30% while improving productivity. It was like finally putting the seat down and letting the fresh air in. In other words, be sure to use your software and equipment as they're designed. Don't assume that the best practices are just suggestions. My next porta potty trick is to look for the one that's slightly off kilter. No one trusts the porta potty that's a little wobbly or leans to one side. Most people think it's unstable. People will also avoid the one that's scuffed or a little older. But that means it's going to be less trafficked and a lot cleaner. In business, being different can have the same effect. Standing out can attract attention, but also skepticism. Your uniqueness must meet your customers' emotional needs to be effective. One of my first clients was Bridge City Baking. They sold only gluten-free, vegan baked goods. And at first, people were skeptical, thinking they would taste like cardboard. However, the owner offered free samples to the local grocery stores, and once customers realized how delicious they were, his business took off. That difference satisfied an emotional need for delicious treats and also a physical dietary restriction, turning mistrust into loyalty. I always look for doors that are slightly ajar, where the indicator is red, but I can still see the latch. This happens when someone exits still holding the lock. Of course, most people don't notice that it's not occupied, so that unit has gotten less use than the other ones around it. it's inevitably cleaner. And I have to admit, sometimes I make my own magic porta potty by flipping the lock myself. Now, this has taught me that what appears to be an obstacle can often be an opportunity in disguise. In business, mistakes can lead to unexpected opportunities. I've started using ChatGPT to make images for the unofficial QuickBooks Accountants podcast, my podcast with Hector Garcia. ChatGPT is notorious for not knowing how to spell. My images are full of typos. At first, I tried to fix them, and my team even told me that I shouldn't put out marketing material with obvious flaws. But then we discovered that those images got more views and more engagement. People noticed, and they didn't mind. They thought it was funny. The limitation of the AI tool became a benefit. We turned the typos into the hallmark of the ad campaign, proving that sometimes a flipped lock is just an open door. When most people see a line, they get in it automatically without thinking. When I show up to a long porta potty line, I ask the person at the end to hold my spot, and then I walk up and down the rows trying all the doors. I frequently find 4 or 5 doors open. So I wave in the waiting people and then get back in line myself to wait my turn. This experience emphasizes the importance of taking initiative and not following the crowd blindly. Always evaluate situations critically and seize overlooked opportunities. When leaders take initiative, they help their target market achieve their goals. They solve their clients' pain points, and even more importantly, they pave the way for their team. Or maybe they're simply helping people who are holding it in, waiting to get back to the music and the vaudeville jugglers. There's literally nothing worse than finding yourself in a porta potty that ran out of paper. And if there's no hand sanitizer, you're facing a health hazard. We always carry a little stash of emergency toilet paper, and doTERRA makes these little bottles of sanitizing spritz made of essential oils that not only clean your hands, but it smells really good. Launching a product or a service without proper support leaves your clients frustrated and unhappy. This damages your reputation and violates customer trust. Scrambling for quick fixes is less effective and more costly than having prepared adequately from the start. Just as you'd ensure a porta potty is fully stocked before an event and cleaned throughout, ensure your product is thoroughly tested and that support systems are in place before you launch. Update your FAQs constantly. Fully train your customer support line with every contingency, and be sure to continuously monitor and prepare for potential issues, ensuring you have the resources to address them promptly. One of the first crews I was on had the job of tying little sprigs of lavender to the vent pipe inside the porta potties. Not only did they look a little prettier and smell a little nicer, but people left less trash inside, and nobody peed on the seats. In the workplace, create a culture that reflects care and consideration. Small details really do make a difference. Recognizing individual contributions and appreciating attention to detail fosters an environment where people want to go the extra mile. Before you leave a porta potty, it's a best practice to turn around, look back, and ensure that everything's in order. Not only do you want to avoid dipping your tail or your costume's wings, but you don't want to leave your purse or your water bottle behind. After a customer makes a purchase or you provide a service, regular check-ins help address any issues they encounter, ensuring they feel supported and confident in their purchases. This is also true internally. Have you ever tried to implement a new workflow and after a few weeks your staff regresses to their old ways? Proper onboarding, training, and follow-up is crucial to long-term success. Always looking back helps you move forward. This is a picture of 4 of our 7 employees, although this picture is several years old. RoyalWise is a family business. My husband, Jamie, is our Apple trainer. My son, Zip, is our social media editor. My daughter, Grace, takes care of facilities. We met Jeff. who's not in the picture, over 20 years ago during event production for a local band, Big Island Shindig. And all our other employees also know about the Magic Porta Potty. We are a company of unicorns, working together as a team with passion and inspiration. Now, take a moment and think back to the story you told your neighbor about your worst porta potty moment. How can you turn that moment into a learning experience about your business? What is your takeaway from this talk? Take another minute and apply the Magic Porta Potty principles to your own role as a leader. By implementing these leadership ideals within your own company, you too can run a business that doesn't stink.